Hello and welcome back to the channel. Um, week one is officially over, and boy, was it a good weekend. Lots of upsets and unpredictable things that happened, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. That's the great thing about the NFL, is that you never know what is going to happen on a given week. It's not like basketball or baseball where you have like teams that you know are probably gonna win or come close, and it's not every time, but usually those sports are predictable. But football, anything can happen. No one had the Seahawks beating Denver. No one had the Giants beating the Titans. No one had the Bengals losing. No one had the Colts and Texans tying. So that's what we're here to talk about today. Kind of week one takeaways, but I don't want to do it in kind of just a generic top 10 takeaways, because I feel like everyone does those. So I thought of what's a creative way to talk about week one but also make it fun, and I just was thinking of things I like, and I thought football, obviously, and I thought movies. So why not combine the two together? So this video will have 4 NFL players based on week one and their comparisons to movie characters from my favorite movies. And the reason there's only 4 is because I actually did research and tried to make a good list of why they're relatable to that character. So it's not just like Patrick Mahomes is Superman because he threw 5 touchdowns and that makes him super and he's a man. Like tried to make them like kind of very similar, so that's why there's only 4. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so for the first week one player and movie comparison, I have Justin Fields, and he compares to Andy Dufresne from Shawshank Redemption. So assuming you guys all know the story of Shawshank, I'm not going to go over it, but if you don't, look it up or watch it, just watch it. But both Andy and Justin were guilty for things they didn't commit. For example, Andy Dufresne was falsely accused for murdering his wife and who she was having an affair with in the beginning of the movie, and Justin Fields last year was falsely accused of contributing to the Bears' horrendous season, which, yeah, he may have been a little bit of the problem, but he did not deserve all the slander he got because he was put into a very bad situation with Darnell Mooney as your number 1 receiver. That's not a lot of help, and their defense was just atrocious. So he was kind of guilty for the Bears' bad season last year, and I don't think he should have. The next comparison to the two is they both defeated a higher power or team. Spoiler alert, Andy Dufresne defied all the odds and escaped Shawshank prison and proved the warden that he was guilty. And Justin Fields did the same thing by defeating a high-powered 49ers defense and team in general, because they made the NFC Championship last year, the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and he proved that he was the better draft pick over Trey Lance on Sunday. He did. And the last comparison of the two is they both had redemption. Hence the title. Dufresne is redeemed at the end of the movie by ripping through his poster in the wall, going through the pipes, and submerging himself into the rain. Fields redeemed himself in week one by ripping through the 49ers defense and, coincidentally, also submerging himself into the rain. Okay, the reason this looks different is because my phone has no storage, so now I'm recording on my laptop, so that's why it looks different. Okay, the next one I have is Khalil Mack, and his movie character comparison is Maximus Decimus Meridius from Gladiator. Both were highest honor for their respective army or team. Maximus was the general to the Roman Empire and the most loved man in Rome after Marcus Aurelius. Khalil Mack was the highest honor at the time for the Oakland Raiders, which was his first team, and he was the most loved man in Oakland after Steph Curry. They both were cut loose when someone new in power came to the throne or the head coaching spot. Maximus disobeyed the new emperor Commodus and was sent to be killed. Though he didn't die, he was sent off somewhere to be a slave. Cleomac was sent off somewhere else when a new coach came into the reign, John Gruden, when they couldn't reach on an agreement on a new deal. Both spent time somewhere else before their revenge era. Maximus fought alongside slaves, where he turned into a gladiator and eventually makes it to the biggest stage on earth, the Colosseum. Mac was traded from the Raiders to the Bears, where he proved to be the best player on that team, and then eventually was traded to the biggest stage in football, where the Super Bowl just was SoFi Stadium and the LA Chargers. Both wanted revenge on their former team who let them go in the first place. Maximus got revenge on the man who killed the true emperor of Rome and Marcus Aurelius' son, Commodus, where Maximus wins the final battle. Mac got his revenge on the team that let him go in SoFi Stadium by tallying 3 sacks over the Raiders. The next NFL player and movie comparison I have is Saquon Barkley and how he's related to Daniel LaRusso. So they both lived or live in New Jersey. The Karate Kid starts in New Jersey, which is where Daniel LaRusso is originally from, before he has to move to Reseda, California, because his mom gets a job there. And Daniel is happiest when he's in New Jersey because he didn't want to move and go to a new town and leave his friends. Saquon Barkley plays for the New York Giants, who coincidentally actually plays in New Jersey, and based on week 1, it looked like Saquon was happiest there too. Daniel LaRusso runs into Johnny Lawrence, who is the guy in Reseda and the reigning All-Valley Tournament champion. Saquon in week 1 runs into the reigning AFC number 1 seed Tennessee Titans, who were the guys last year. They both lose their first battles to them. Daniel LaRusso loses to Johnny Lawrence on the beach when Johnny Lawrence breaks Allie with an Eyes radio. Saquon Barkley has played the Titans only once before week 1, and he had 14 carries for 31 yards and a loss, so I would say he got beat up pretty bad there. Both have had major injuries. LaRusso got lots of marks on his face from falling off his bike, and also the major injury was when his leg was swept. Saquon Barkley has also had many injuries over his career, but his most severe one was also a leg injury. Both are introduced to new coaches or senseis in which lead them to the top of their game. Daniel is coached or trained by Mr. Miyagi when LaRusso pulls off the upset against Johnny Lawrence. Barkley's first game with his new coach, Brian Daboll, pulls off the upset versus the Titans, where Barkley leads the league in rushing that week. Okay, this last one hurts me to say because it's my favorite movie character with my least favorite NFL player, but I saw similarities in week 1. It's Aaron Rodgers and Henry Hill from Goodfellas. Both introduced to their way of life early and had great mentors. Henry Hill worked at the cab stand when he was young and met a lot of guys involved in the organized crime and learned from them. Aaron Rodgers came into the league under great conditions and got to learn behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, Brett Favre. Both shined once becoming part of the team. Henry Hill was welcomed by Paulie right when he was ready and made friends with Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito. Aaron Rodgers shined when he was the starter and made dynamic duos with guys like Jordy Nelson and Davante Adams. Both had one of their best friends depart or whacked. Henry's good friend Tommy thought he was about to become a made man, but it was actually a trick to get Tommy out of the picture. Rodgers' good friend Davante Adams left to rejoin with his old friend Derek Carr and joined the dark side, the Las Vegas Raiders. Everything started to go downhill after these events happened for both Rodgers and Hill. Henry Hill didn't trust anybody. Aaron Rodgers in week 1 looked like he didn't trust anybody, especially after that throw to Christian Watson on the first play. Both did drugs. Henry Hill liked cocaine a lot, and Aaron Rodgers used ayahuasca too far. In the end, eventually both rat out their own side. Henry Hill rats out Jimmy and Paulie to keep him safe. And Aaron Rodgers blames his receivers, and don't forget about the front office too last year. Well, that's all of the movie characters and NFL Week 1 comparisons I have. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm going to try and do, after each week, takeaways, but try and do it in a more fun and entertaining way instead of just reading the takeaways. So if you enjoyed that, please subscribe or like or share it with people, because I actually want to keep doing this. And if you haven't checked out my last video, you can do that. I checked, it had 28 views, so I hope that this one gets a little more, but if not, it's okay. I'm just going to keep making them. So I'll see you guys in the next video.